Good evening. The time is 5:32. Welcome to the April 16th regular meeting of the Board of Directors of Evergreen Public Schools. Please rise with me. The Pledge of Allegiance. I believe to the flag. Thank you. The next item is our land acknowledgement. Sullivan Taylor will read the land acknowledgement.
Evergreen Public Schools resides on the traditional lands of the Chinookan peoples and the Cowlitz tribe. They have lived on and cared for this land and its waterways since time immemorial. We thank them for their stewardship and make this acknowledgement to open a space of recognition, inclusion, and respect for all Indigenous families, students, and staff in our community.
Thank you. Our next item is to adopt tonight's agenda. Action requires a motion.
I move we adopt tonight's agenda as presented.
Second.
Director Gronwall has moved to adopt tonight's agenda as presented. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? We have adopted the agenda. Now is a time for public comments. Community members who wish to speak to the board. Any community member wishing to address the board may do so during the designated time on the agenda for public comments. Comments are to be directed to the board of directors as a whole and may not be addressed to any individual member of the board, the administrative staff, or the audience. Although the board will not engage in dialogue, the board chair may ask a speaker a clarifying question or follow up at a later time on an issue raised during public comment. Each speaker has a maximum of 3 minutes this evening to ensure we hear from as many voices as possible. After the first hour of comments, if any, we'll take a 10-minute break. Following the break, we'll resume public comments for an additional hour, then close comments for the evening, and move forward with the agenda. There are fewer speakers than would take an hour, so we'll probably be finished long before then. There is no mechanism whereby a speaker can donate some or all of their time to another speaker. No individual may speak more than once per regular meeting, even if there's time remaining. And please state your name and your district affiliation, if any. And I have a comment here that I've written. This is after reviewing board policies 1400 and 1430 with the superintendent and with legal counsel, I was able to confirm that the time limits for public comment are set forth in policy and have set the time limit for each speaker to 3 minutes for this in future meetings. I regret the error. And I am also appreciative of the community members who brought the issue to my attention. In a future meeting, we'll schedule a workshop to hold an open discussion on the matter. So thank you for your help there. Our first speaker tonight is Catherine Furtick. Catherine, are you here?
My name is Catherine Furtick. I have 2 students in EPS. This community has the right to express grief over the proven negative impacts research reflects in the loss of school librarians on our children's futures. The let's just move on atmosphere was felt leading up to and continues to be felt following the budget vote. Back to business as usual, a 3rd year of massive cuts has become old hat. To say we need to improve our academic achievement to increase and retain enrollment while in the same breath gutting those whom data supports the necessity of and achieving it is contradictory. Even OSPI recognized this value as they celebrated National School Librarian Day, glaringly absent from our own district's page this month, adding salt to the open cuts. I'm deeply concerned over plans for paras and other vital staff to offset the librarian loss. We are already unable to give our most vulnerable students the legally entitled support they need to succeed. Paras juggle crises while dodging blows and thrown furniture while teachers are now expected to add library skills and more to their classrooms in crisis. How out of touch with reality. As I sought to better understand what was reasonable and realistic to expect from you, our elected leadership, I read EPS's statement that said it is important for all community members to feel welcome and safe in the board's business meetings. As I continued to read, I noted that as everything is up to your interpretation per policies, it's pretty intimidating to ponder what is truly safe to express. As you've squeezed our public comment time tighter, now permanently to 2 minutes as my discovery last Friday, coincidentally, the same date as the documented revision of audience participation. This created many more questions as I poured through lengthy policy regarding revisions. If I managed to get this far, it is not because I felt my grief and concern were welcome nor safe to express. I look forward to future conversations with you regarding those questions. And that was what I set for my 2-minute mark. Roughly 3 hours ago, I received an email stating we had 3 minutes to address the board tonight. Up until then, I had carefully planned for only 2 per the newly revised policy. I honestly can't tell whether it is mind games or frantic backpedaling at this point. Just as I am grateful that security was returned back to us, I'm also grateful for the return, albeit temporary, of our 3rd minute to speak that was taken from us. It is difficult to feel sincere in that gratitude when these 2 things to be grateful for feel more like getting played than true benevolence. And yes, we continue to have lots of questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. Angie Punta. Angie?
Hello, I'm Angie. You all know who I am. I didn't exactly write things down because today was a busy day, but I mean, I would like to start by saying I was pretty surprised to see that there was a revision to this audience participation policy that was on Friday when there wasn't a board meeting, it wasn't voted by the board. And then I heard that after I sent an email and was told that the president could make it for however many minutes he wants, but it was noted that it was a policy error that had been changed. So then apparently after consulting with lawyers, you guys found out that you cannot do that. What I also find interesting is that instead of revising this policy back to the other and writing like revised April 12th, revised today, it's now deleted as if it never happened. My concern with that is it just says revised by the board November 15th, 2016. So that's another violation of the policy and procedure, and apparently was not done by our president of the board, which is very concerning because how do we know that other policies are not being erased, deleted? Oh, this didn't work out, or I did this and now I realize after talking with the lawyer that it's illegal. Let's delete it. How is this building trust with an administration that is already facing a no confidence vote by your entire district, by your entire community? You 5 are the people who are supposed to say, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. I'm the person that votes on this. I'm the person that should investigate this, and I should investigate it firsthand with my own eyes, with my own ears, going into the classrooms, seeing what's actually happening, as opposed to getting reports by people who apparently delete what they don't want to get caught. You have to be, you're our voice. You are 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 our voice. You were voted in to be our voice, not to look the other way and say that audits will catch anything that we don't because we don't want to look, and to just make decisions when you're not educated decision makers. I want to work with you. I am begging to work with you. These people in this room don't want to be here. They want to be outside. They want to be with their kids. They are begging to work with you, to listen, and to work together, because the most important people that will do the most for you, each of you, and will build our district are the people whose children attend it. They are the people that care more than any of you, unless you have children in this district. And even then, your decisions are making me question how much you do care. The lack of responding to emails, the fact that only one person responds to emails now. So if I write someone, I have to wait and I won't get answered. That's not how this should work, and I'm really hoping we can do better.
Thank you for your comments. The next person is Corey Ward.
Hey all. My name's Cora Ward. I have 5 children in the school district. I volunteer in my children's schools weekly. I have 2 small businesses. I enjoy being involved with my community academically, religiously, and socially. The youngest of my children is class of 2037, to give you a gauge of my interest and dedication in the school district. 14 years, y'all. Let's go. I don't have the benefit of children graduating soon or retiring soon. The decisions being made will have a long-lasting effects into my children's education. At this time, as this is the time for community concerns, I'm going to share some community concerns, but certainly not all. Community concerns. As members of the board, learning and hearing some of your personal stories, you sit here with stories of incredible stories of overcoming, of activism, of leadership, of community outreach. It's very concerning to me that people with such accolades would make such detrimental decisions. It's concerning that basic integrity is missing of being who you say you are and doing what you say you'll do. Community concern, actions and words. You say you want to create a collaborative relationship, but there's no communication. As a community and parents, we are emailing with only one board member responding, and from others and our superintendent, a copy-paste response, no response, or a stonewall response. We openly share these for verification. The only opportunity we have to know you can hear us is during these meetings where there's no chance for dialogue, for communication, where you are actively diminishing the time you hear from the community. Strike that. Apparently the revision was not actually happening. I understand there's more of us than there are of you. And a few months ago, I gave you that benefit of a doubt. But now, after seeing nothing but copy paste responses or no responses, your actions have spoken. You don't hear us and you kind of don't care to. Community concern, school start time. This year, I've been flooded with emails about attendance and making sure kids are getting enough rest. But yet in previous years, I never had any of these. With the late release times of middle school and high school and many extracurriculars most attend, many families barely have time to attend these, have dinner, and attempt to get their early rising elementary students to bed at a decent hour, let alone the impacts to their jobs and their childcare. These schedules do not make sense, and for this far into the school year, you can see they're not working. Community concern. The library mitigation presented includes having academic interventionists stop working with their students to help fill their roles with librarians, and also relying on parent volunteers to fill this role. It's concerning that you care so little about the current elementary students losing time with their interventionalists, my child being one of them as she is dyslexic, and that you expect parents to fill a void that you created and you yourselves are not willing to fill. Community concern. There have been numerous weapons at the school this year, as recent as last week in Chehalis. Many schools also report being down radios and the district doing nothing to replace them, but yet the district can find $31,000 for bonuses. But yet these radios are vital for the security and safety of our students, and you let them go unreplaced. There are more concerns, but for the time limit, I'll end here. If you feel as a community we're speaking bad about your actions, it's not us speaking about them. Your actions speak for themselves. You want to create a collaborative environment and relationship, then change your actions. Thank you.
Councilor Lloyd. Emil Lohman. Emil Lohman. Okay, if she's able to arrive before we finish, then I'll call on her. Susan Louder.
Hello, my name is Susan Louder. I'm a parent, a grandparent, a voter, an employee, a former student of Evergreen Public Schools, and my father was actually on the school board in the 60s. So I feel like I have a very, very strong connection to Evergreen Public Schools. I'm here today to read a letter of a colleague of mine. She is unable to attend meetings because she conducts a children's choir on Tuesday nights. So I'm reading a letter that was written to you, the board, by Amber Lynn Lane. Dear Board of Directors and leadership, as a parent, a voter, and an employee who spent time going door-to-door campaigning for the levy to pass to fund programs like librarians and music, can you explain exactly how our levy dollars are allocated? I voted and campaigned yes, as I was told this money was going to keep music and libraries funded for our children. As teachers, we learned that bonds are for buildings and levies are for learning. So now, while I'm still paying those levy dollars, those programs have been proposed cuts. I thought the levy passing was specific money for specific things. This was the message that we were being sent. I'm also told that any salary above the state allocated money paid to our superintendent comes from levy monies. Is this true? How much of our levy money is going to supplement salaries for leadership positions in our district? I was not told this when voting or campaigning. I did not vote to pay an exorbitant salary for excess positions in leadership. How do I get transparency on where my dollars are going? This is not a rhetorical question. How can you keep public trust when you tell us to vote to fund programs that you turn around and want to cut? I implore you to seek other ways and consider other proposals for cuts. I ask you for the sake of future levy votes to keep your word about what that money would pay for. But most especially, I ask that you put serving the children first in your financial priorities. Respectfully, Amberlynn Lane, mother of 3 Evergreen students and nationally board certified music teacher. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Is Camille here now? Camille Lohman, right?
Hi, my name is Camille. I appreciate you letting me come up here after you'd already called my name. I'm late because I was making these Red for Ed. Still have my stuck on my shirt, but we've been working on making these to show our support for the teachers as well as our paras and our bus drivers, blue for schools and red for ed. And I also appreciate, I was listening in on my phone to the first part of the meeting, and I appreciate that the board did address the issue with going back to 2 minutes permanently and then 3 minutes, because I wrote one public comment where I was going to call that out and then another one if you didn't. So, and I think that's part of the issue is I don't think that I should have had to write 2. I should have just been like, oh, they'll correct this. I shouldn't have had to wonder whether or not you would. And little of sorts, but I think the most frustrating thing is that I shouldn't have had to go back and forth with which one am I going to even speak to, rushing here. And our group, our community, we want to work all together. Been meeting with members of the board, been meeting with almost everyone now on the superintendent leadership team, and working so hard to try and have these conversations. And it doesn't feel like anything is really happening from those conversations. And I think the biggest way that the community could understand that the progress is being made coming from those conversations, coming from those emails, if you don't have the time to respond to hundreds of emails that I know you are receiving, is to set the expectations in a way where we still feel like we are a team. Set the expectations. No, we're not going to create public panic by sending out a district-wide email if a firearm is found in a locker. But here's our policy, here's our procedure, here's a very easy way to find everything on the website, because it is very difficult to find everything on your website. I went to archive.org and used the Wayback Machine to see what the Evergreen Public Schools website has looked like all the way back to 1996. And colors have changed, logo has changed. And the biggest thing that's changed is it is very difficult to find anything. We don't feel communicated with. Can we please set expectations so we both understand what we can expect from each other?
Thank you, Camille. Tressie Hawkins. Welcome.
Good evening. My name is Tressie Hawkins, and I am a teacher at Columbia Valley Elementary School. I'm also a parent of 2 graduates. They are 18 and 20, and I have to say I'm very, very glad that they are done with the Evergreen School District because I have many disappointments and I'm just glad they're done. But tonight I wish to share with you some exciting things that have recently happened at my school, Columbia Valley, this month. At Columbia Valley Elementary School, the amazing librarian, Beth Petrie, along with other teachers on the Read Across America committee, kicked off an exciting month of reading with a huge event, Bingo for Books, at our school on Tuesday, March 6th. Over 100 families gathered at our school to receive their copy of The Wild Robot as an all-school read for the month of March. Books were purchased through a grant written by our librarian and through a grant from IQ Credit Union and our generous PTG. And they supplied every teacher and family at Columbia Valley with a copy of this book, along with Spanish copies to our Hispanic families. Chick-fil-A came that night with prizes and a visit from their cow. And we had a silent auction with wonderful baskets and teacher experiences such as boat excursions, art lessons, hikes, bowling, lunch dates, and homemade items donated by Columbia Valley teachers. The PTG group, along with our hardworking librarian, Beth Petrie, organized a school decorating party the weekend before the event to showcase the scenes from The Wild Robot, including a mysterious crate that crash landed on an island, along with animals from the book. In the following days and weeks, each of the grades helped to decorate the rest of the halls with the animals from the books: otters, bears, crabs, deers, and geese. The rest of the month featured a school-wide spirit week, daily readings by the teachers, and a parent-teacher connection with a pacing guide for families reading the books at home. The month was topped off with a school-wide robot parade with students and teachers from kindergarten through 5th grade marching through the halls of our school dressed as robots or holding their own homemade robots. The excitement and the joy of reading was just so evident all month long. It was just palpable. And all of this could not have happened without the tireless work of our wonderful librarian, Beth Petrie, our PTG, and our dedicated teachers. It was a very inspiring month, and we were all so excited to have this opportunity to inspire our young readers at Columbia Valley with the joy of reading. I emailed the Good News newsletter with dozens of pictures and accolades for the wonderful work of our librarian, but sadly it barely made the 3rd page with a short blurb that did not do the events justice. There was 3 little pictures at the back. I had to dig for it. I had to scroll down all the way to the end. I was also dismayed to hear that our chief communications officer could not make it to any of these events, even though several invitations were personally given to him. It seems like the district is hesitant to celebrate the wonderful work of our librarians, given the recent cuts. My question is this: can we please revisit these tragic cuts of our beloved librarians?
Thank you, Ms. Hawkins. Rose Wombold. Hi, Rose.
Hello, my name is Rose Wombold, and I'm a resident of Vancouver. I'm here to speak about the Senate Bill 5462, which requires the school districts to adopt inclusive curricula and select inclusive, age-appropriate instructional materials that include the histories, contributions, and perspectives of historically marginalized and underrepresented groups, including the LGBTQ community. I'm truly concerned about the impact Bill 5462 will have on the children in the Evergreen School District. As you know, this bill will impact kindergartners all the way through high school seniors. However, I just read this morning, and I have the article in my hand, and it states, despite wide support from educators concerning Bill 5462, who proposed this legislation, Mr. Elias continues. He says, opponents have called the bill overhanded, arguing it will undermine the local control granted to school boards, who are elected by district residents and tasked with developing final curricula based on OSPI standards. But, he continues, the bill language acknowledges this concern and reiterates that final curriculum decisions are still in the hands of the school board. That said, the the ball is still in the court of the school board members. How will the Evergreen School Board handle this new bill's curricula commencing on the fall of October 2025? It's very concerning to me as a resident here in Washington, in the city of Vancouver. I'm very concerned. I truly am. Never stood here like this before, aside from the last few times that I've been here. But to say what this young lady said, as far as you are our voice, each one of you are our voice. And I know you all care about our children, each of you. You wouldn't be here if you didn't. So remember, the final curriculum decision is still in the hands of the board. Please make the right decisions, please. May I remind you all of the millstone scripture. I thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Womble. Thomas Klein.
I'm Thomas Klein. I'm a senior from EPS. I'm here primarily because of a result of the last school board meeting. It opened my eyes to the repeated failures of this school board. This school board has failed to acquire federal and state funding, which has led to mass scale budget cuts, which have deeply impacted this community. This school board has failed to take into account the needs of disabled students by taking their already strained paraeducators and forcing them into roles previously filled by other jobs. They have failed to take into account community voices regarding budget cuts and other matters, which is odd considering you are one of the most well-paid boards in the country. On top of that, you have failed to garner trust from your community and your employees, leading to your own district's union initiating a vote of no confidence in your ability to lead this district. That is why I've come up here today, because I have seen a board that many in this community would see as incompetent at their job. You are, I would say, a disgrace to public service. You do not listen to the voice of your own community that you are supposed to represent. A disgrace to public education. You do not take into account the needs of students it is your job to provide a curriculum of their education and needs for education. And you have at worst failed your community by failing to listen to voices and failing to take into account your most vulnerable community members' needs. That is why I am up here to suggest to the board the most grave of recourse for these actions, which is their immediate resignation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Klein. Margot Logan. Hi, Margot.
Hi. I'm Margot Logan, and some of my background in history. The most important probably is with DSHS, where I worked there for 16 years. And one of my duties off and on was to be the public records disclosure coordinator. And every now and then on DSHS, people would they just write emails. They just say stuff. And so every once in a while, there'd be an embarrassing story that would come out in the news. And we would all get emails going, hey, it's a public record. When you write, be sure you know that this is a public record that everybody gets to see. Well, that would last for maybe 2 or 3 weeks. And people, given human nature, would go back to what they were doing. So what I'm doing tonight is asking for public records request. And I want the messages, and I'd like the request to just go out to the public and to the parents, put it on the website, messages between board members regarding the budget vote. At the meeting last month, Ronwald seemingly was announcing the results of the board vote for the board. Excuse me?
I'll ask you to address the full board without calling any member out.
I'm not talking to her. I'm talking about the facts that I witnessed at the board meeting. And I witnessed, it seemed like she knew what the results were of the vote before the vote was taken, and including commenting that the results, some people would not be happy with the results. And so I was like, well, how does she know that? Why is she talking like that? So thus it appeared the public comments were just for show. It was just for theater. That somebody making a comment at the board meeting, it didn't matter. It didn't matter because it looked like that the decision had already been made on how it was going to be voted on. So I would like to see that. Last year, there was a news report out of Newburgh, Oregon, where a few board members were violating the public records law. And so they were doing what people do when they text. And it came out, and it was a big story. So I think it's really important to know whether or not the board was actually listening to the comments, or if there had been a violation of the Public Meetings Act. And so how many of you got together and talked about how you were going to vote last board meeting? So that's my story. And I would just like it to go up on the website so all the parents and everybody can see it.
Thank you for your comments. Crystal Castner, please.
Hello. I didn't really have any time today to write much down, but I did want to start by thanking certain board members for their ability to listen and accept feedback and to take action and question to remedy the unlawful amendment to Board Policy 1430. I know it's difficult trying to toe the fence between the community and district agendas, and that I would never want to be in your guys' shoes, ever. The rest of the board, district staff, and superintendent, I would really hope that you would all take this and let it serve as an example of how to start leading with equity and transparency. I've reached out to every single one of you over the last 9 months. I've heard back from three. The other ones, completely unreachable. The others, it's been a mixed bag of what I get. I do appreciate every contact that I've had with you. And I'm still trying to learn this process. I came into this at the beginning of the year having no idea about anything in politics to begin with. Coming into that, learning the district, trying to learn the policies at district level, I don't even see, district level, state level, so on and so forth. It's a lot to take in. And as a community member, that's what I've been asking for what, 9 months? Something like that now. And how am I supposed to learn? How am I supposed to be able to make informed decisions for myself, find out what I'm going to be mad about, what I agree with you guys on, if I can't even understand it in the first place? So those on the board that have given me that sounding board, I do appreciate it. I would like to see more of you take that lead as well and really take the time to sit back and question what's happening, why it's happening, look further, dig in the same way we are. If none of us are doing it, we're not going to get any union or any type of, what do you guys call it? Togetherness. We're never going to be able to put this behind us. So I apologize for my tangent, but I do want to say thank you to those that stepped forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Crystal. We'll make sure that we call everybody. Okay. This concludes the public comment part of our meeting. Thankful to all of those who were able to come and speak to us. Next item on the agenda is the board's consent agenda. Action requires a motion.
I move that we approve the board's consent agenda as presented. Seconded.
It's been moved by Director Grunwald and seconded by Director Weatherspoon to approve tonight's board consent agenda as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The agenda is adopted. The next item on the agenda is the superintendent's consent agenda.
I move to approve the superintendent's consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Director Grunwald has moved and Director Bocanegra seconded to approve the superintendent's consent agenda as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The superintendent consent agenda is adopted. The next item on the agenda is the superintendent report. Superintendent Boyd.
Yeah, thank you, Director Perkins. Director Grunwald wanted me to share a bit of a legislative update that we met with Vancouver Public Schools, our lobbyists, and the Educational Service District to share with all of our local legislators on a Zoom call detailed information from our budget. And so we took that step to educate them, and a lot of the work done with legislation is done during the off season. So we took the opportunity to meet with them and discuss that and share some information about that. And so hopefully that'll be at the beginning of a lot of different legislative advocacy for us to be able to work with the legislature to enhance and increase our funding. So with that, I'll conclude and let Dr. Armstrong come up and do her teaching, learning, and equity update.
Thank you. Any questions for John? Hearing none. The next item on the agenda is teaching and learning and equity update. Hello, Dr. Armstrong.
Retreat that happened last month and tell you about the good work that we're doing as we're grounding in the strategic plan. So on March 19th, we brought all of TLE together. That includes our support staff, the administrators, and those who have assignments in schools to come together as one community to ground in living out our strategic plan, our goals, and where we hope to be as a team. Our intended outcome was just to be in alignment with the support and be clear about ways in which we organize ourselves to be in support of schools. So we talked a lot about structures, about systems, about dispositions that are needed. And our theme was the tree and just all what the tree represents. Our goal was to build interdependence amongst the team and be unified. And then be really clear about where we were with the strategic plan, where we're at today, and then where we hope to be moving into the 24-25 school year and beyond. And so just a little snapshot of how we ended our time after spending a full day together in community in a circle. And just wanted to leave you with this last image from a poet. This is a poet, Lucille Clifton. And I just appreciate her words that we cannot create what we cannot imagine. And we're in the place of imagining right now and teaching, learning, and equity. And that's my update. Any questions on that?
Questions for Dr. Armstrong?
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Hearing none. Thank you for the update. Our next item is the good news report. Craig, are you here? Yeah, there you are.
Good evening, everybody. Board, Superintendent Boyd. I want to start with a story from Evergreen High School. As you know, there was a group of students that came and presented here to the board of directors and the community about they were advocating for more mental health support and also discussing how they had created their own wellness club at Evergreen High School and that they hoped other high schools would also do that. So this video story is about them. We went and visited their meeting, and I really appreciated it. I think I
often need to meditate a little bit as well. So it's not what you would see from your average club. I think everyone should watch this story and see how this really is a students helping students with the guidance of staff story. And I do think it'd be great if other schools adopted this club. So really cool story to see these students advocating for themselves. Pioneer Elementary School, it's kind of a follow-up. We did earlier this year a video story on their HOPE campaign, which stands for Helping Others Pursue Excellence Project. And it's a whole, their entire school has picked up this theme about helping others. And one of their activities earlier this year, I want to say the fall, I was there when they, just a bunch of dirt, they planted tulip seeds. And we went and followed up because we got a message that they bloomed. So they're really beautiful. And it's great for the students to see their work and how it can turn into beauty. I do want to say that I just talked to Ms. Hawkins, who talked about Columbia Valley's Spirit Week and their robot parade. And we did have only a small story in March because I had arranged with the school to see which is the biggest event that we could cover that would really encompass the entire event. And it was the robot parade. So she wasn't aware that we did go out there and we did get pictures. As a matter of fact, the third one to the right, that is Miss Hawkins right there in the silver robot staff. So I did get a letter know that we had communicated with the school, and this is our best photographer, Aaron Wintersong, actually took these pictures. There's 3 of us that take pictures. I like to think I'm tied for second, but Aaron is definitely one. This event is a great event. It was a community partner, Home Depot, had reached out to our CTE program in collaboration with a volunteer event that they do across the country, and it's usually during MLK to celebrate during the MLK Junior Week. But we had bad weather, so they had to postpone it. But what they did is the volunteers from Home Depot and students from our Evergreen High School CTE program and the Skills Center, they worked together to build load-bearing equipment for track and field athletes and for the weight room. And so they built these like vaults, which they usually have to order and are pretty expensive. And so they built these together, and those will be used by our district at district track meets and in the weight room. And I also wanted to, there's a long story behind how Orchard's got this beautiful wall mural, and it really is beautiful, and it takes up the whole school. It's breathtaking when you go there, so I do suggest you take a look. But it's about community partnerships. There was a grant involved, an artist involved. Our foundation also supplied money. Our maintenance department had to work with the fire marshal to be able to attach this to the wall in a way that is safe and proper. And they worked a lot to make sure they had the proper wood for this. And this is all about art, making people feel like they belong and safe. And Orchard's had a whole learning experience behind this. And there's 400 stars that are spread throughout this. And it's all about how they look individually, they shine, but together, how they really, really shine. So just a wonderful community partnership that was able to come together and really just change. Orchard's a very nice school, but this really just changes the dynamic of the entire school when you walk in there. Any questions?
Is this in addition to the mural that they had before?
Yeah, this is brand new.
Okay.
It took like a lot of work to get it done and get finished. And they say it's a mural. I don't. My wife is an artist, so I should know. I know it's a mural because it's art on the wall, but it's not just one wall. It just keeps going and going and spreads throughout. So it's more than just like one area of the school.
Greg, I just want to thank you and your staff. I know you guys are hustling out to get to 38 different schools. I see you guys running all over the place, and the result is beautiful. So thank you for continuing to share the good news and reminding us of all the amazing, incredible programs, people, staff, and students that we have in Evergreen Public Schools. Thank you.
Well, it's definitely the best part of the job for sure.
All right, thank you, Craig. The next item on the agenda is an informational item. It's the March 2024 financial statement from our finance department, led by Jennifer Jacobson. Are there any questions for the superintendent about the statement?
Yeah, I just had sent an email a week or so ago concerning the compensatory educational instruction, and just wanted to find out, from what I understand, that includes like IEP missing minutes, the instruction that we have to get to cover that. And I just want to be able to go back through a period of time and see how much of our funding is, how much are we missing IEPs that we have to go and get some special educational instruction to make up for what we're missing, and just hadn't heard back. So just
we've addressed your desire to get that information with our special ed team, and I haven't had a chance to meet with them to discuss it, but there's a lot to it. So we need to set up a special meeting to talk about the compensatory ed. So a lot of reasons that compensatory ed is done. And so we'll be happy to loop back with you after I've had a chance to talk to staff.
Thank you.
Okay. Hearing no other questions. Next item on the agenda is comments by the school board. Does anyone have comments tonight?
No, but maybe just in the spirit of what John just talked about and the good work that our communications department's doing and capturing all the things that our students are doing out in the schools. One of my favorite things to do is be able to watch them and engaged in all of the activities. And recently went to, I think it was like the Broadway Pops at Heritage, which was really a lot of fun. The kids, it was all put on by the kids. They did the whole thing. Well, Sullivan probably knows about it. But it was really amazing. It was a lot of fun. And just, I was watching all those kids up there, and it had to have been 100 involved, and just watching how they all work together. It's just really rewarding to see their work in person. So.
Yeah, I just want to also thank everyone for speaking tonight, and also for all the emails we've gotten in the last few months. And with that encouragement, I'm going to be going out this week to visit a school. So looking forward to getting a little more involved that way. So thank you for your encouragement to do so.
I think it's worth mentioning that each Friday, I spend some time with Jennifer Hanna at Emerald Elementary School volunteering in the library. I've seen some of the excellence in the way that the paraeducators assist the students. There are one-on-ones in the library section that coincides with my my particular volunteer work in the library, and that I can really see by attending there just how valuable it is to have those paraeducators and those volunteers in the school. Because they're really making a big difference for our libraries and our elementary schools in how we can serve kids. Thank you to those volunteers. Any other comments?
Last Thursday, Ginny and I did breakfast with the board at Shahela. We met with students and had a conversation about they talk about everything. One thing that stood out the most was talking to students about how the schedule changes have affected their families and have affected sports, after school activities, different things. And so that's something that we are thinking about, and it's on our minds.
Yeah, we have time set up with our transportation department to review to see what the possibilities are for the following year. So no promises. What pushed that decision, as you know, and we had to expand the tiers out in order to safely transport our students and get them on time. And so we had to make some tough decisions, but we're reviewing it. We're going to take a look at that, and we'll keep the board and the community posted as we move forward with those conversations. So thanks for bringing that up. I think that it's important for the community to hear that.
Yeah, one of their biggest questions was why. So we were able to explain it. They understood it, but there was a lot of questions surrounding that, especially also families, but also sports.
Yeah.
There was a lot of questions about the sports in middle schools. And so we got a lot of insight from them. But then, yeah, it was a great, always loved those. And I actually really enjoy middle school breakfast with the boards.
I taught middle school for 5 years and it's my favorite age group. So love to spend time with that group.
It is. It is. I was talking to Greg and I just, even though I have a middle schooler and we know what that's like being a parent of one, it's great to get them started. They always just kind of sit there at first. And so you got to break the ice. But once you get them started, yeah, they're great. One of the students is going to be an astronaut. So she was pretty incredible. I love those.
Any other comments? Hearing none. The next item on the agenda is student board comments. Representatives, what do you have for us today?
I only have a short update. This is kind of the calm before the storm. Like it's almost SBAC testing time. It's almost AP testing time. It's about prom season. I know that Gila and Mountain View just had their proms last weekend, and I saw some pictures online, and it looked so beautiful. Everyone looks so great, and it's just a really exciting time of year where you're almost to the end, but you're not quite there. We're this close. I think we have about 60 days left, I want to say. 45? No. Whoa.
Is that 45 school days or
Yeah,
60
45
calendar
school days.
days?
I know Heritage has 53 days until graduation, so 45 school days sounds about right. Yeah, pretty short update. Not much going on right now. We're almost there, and about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Sullivan. Okay, the time is 6:24 p.m. We're going to recess to sign documents and then reconvene in, I'm going to say about 15 minutes for our workshop items, which is a review of the youth truth data and a short legislative update, followed by a closed session to discuss an item of collective bargaining, and following that, an executive session to review the performance of a public employee. The time of each closed session will be announced at the conclusion of the workshop. Thank you for coming to the meeting.